Hello and welcome to another Miss B's tutorial. Today we're going to look at drawing a histogram. To be able to participate in the questions after the example, there is sheets below this video which you can print out and have a go at on the sheets. The graph paper is already drawn for you. So we're going to first look at today how to calculate the frequency density. Now the frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by the class width. Now the frequency means how many, and the reason why we divide is because that line of fraction stands for divide. Now, the class width, we need to know what this is. It's really simple to work out, and we're just going to do a few examples here. The class width is how far from one to the other, so the range of your categories. So the first category, we've got people running 400 metres and the times are in seconds. It takes some people between 30 and 50 seconds, so it's greater than or equal to 30 and less than 50 seconds in this category. Now the difference between 30 and 50 is 20, so my class width for this section here is 20. If we look at our next category, we've got it's going to be greater than or equal to 50. Remember, this little line means equal to, and it's going to be less than 60 seconds the time in this section. So 50 to 60. Well, 60 take away the 50 is 10, so my class width is 10. The next one, I've got it's greater than or equal to 60, but less than 65. So 65 take away 60 is 5, so my class width here is 5. And last but not least, we've got 65 is greater than or equal to, and it's also less than 80. These are the times, so 80 take away 65 is 15. And the class width really is just as simple as that. We're now going to look at how you find the frequency density. So to find the frequency density, there's two bits of information that we need. If you remember, the formula is frequency density equals frequency divided by the class width. So we already know the frequency, but we don't know the class width. So in an exam, you will need to add in a class width column at the end. And we're going to work out our class width. So 0 to 5, our class width there is 5. 5 to 10, our class width again is 5. 10 to 20, our class width is 10. And 20 to 40, our class width is 20. Now we're going to look at being able to calculate the frequency density, because we now have both bits of information. We have the frequency and we have the class width. So we're going to do frequency divided by class width for each row. So for the first row, we're going to do 8 divided by 5. And that will give us the answer of 1.6. For the next row, we're going to do 20 divided by 5, frequency divided by the class width. That will give the answer of 4. Now we're going to do for the next row 24 divided by 10. 24 divided by 10 gives us the answer of 2.4. And last but not least, we're going to do 96, the frequency, divided by the class width of 20. So 96 divided by 20. And that will get us the answer of 4.8. So as you can see here, I've carried the table across that we just calculated on the last page. And we've got our frequency densities of 1.6, 4, 2.4 and 4.8. Now when it comes to drawing your histogram, the class width column you don't need, and you don't need your frequency column once you've calculated the frequency density. Now it's very important that you clearly label your axes. There was 1 mark for that in the exam sometimes, and it's very important you get your scale right in your axes. Sometimes these are missing, as you'll see on question 2 later on, and sometimes these are given for you. So it's very important you get your scale right and you label your axes. If you forget these, then you may lose easy marks. If you can't remember how to draw it, but you put these on, you may gain some marks. So, we're going to look at the first one. Our cost is between 0 and 5. That tells us on the scale down the bottom that our first bar is going to be between 0 and 5. So it's going to be that width along. Now it's very important that when it's unequal class intervals, that means the class widths are different sizes. So you've got a 5, a 5, a 10, the different sizes, that your scale follows this. You need to do a scale along the bottom as well. You can't just put 0 to 5, 5 to 10. You've got to do a scale like you would normally do up the side. So our first bar is going to be between 0 and 5, and it's going to go up to 1.6 in the frequency density. So every square in this one is worth 0.2. The reason why every square is worth 0.2 is because if we look here, we're going from 0 to 1, and there's 5 squares in between. So if we do 1 divided by 5, that will get us the answer of 0.2. That tells us every square up, every line up is 0.2. So our first one is going to be plotted between 0 and 5. So 0 to 5, that's my width, and it's going to go up to 1.6. So we've got 1.2, 1.4, 1.6. So there's my first bar. Next one is between 5 and 10. So we're going to between 5 and 10, it's going to go up to 4. So we're going to go up to 4. So we've got 4 between 5 and 10. And we've drawn it. And the next one is between 10 and 20. So now we're going to have a bigger width of our bar. If you look here, we've got between 10 and 20, and it's going to go up to 2.4. So 2.2, 2.4. And last but not least, we're going to have between 20 and 40, 4.8. Now it's very important there are no gaps between your bars. Now I know there's slight gaps between mine, that's because of this software, but there should not be any gaps between your bars. If you can see here, they're touching. Okay. What I'd like you to do now is have a go at this following exam question. Pause the screen, print them out, and have a go. It's just 2 questions. I'll put the answers on the screen in a second. Okay, and now the answers for question 1. The answers for question 1. Pause the screen if you need to look at it longer, or look at the PDF down the bottom that you can open up and download. Okay, question 2. Again, pause the screen, print it out and have a go. And the answers to question 2. Again, you can look at the PDF down the bottom, or you can look at this on the screen. If you pause the screen and have a look, here are the answers. You have to be careful on this one because you need to make sure that you actually put your own scale up the side.